I want to talk about how you kind of started to notice, or at least one of the big landmark moments for you is when you were playing live.
Yeah, it was pretty dramatic. It was in late summer 2020, and we were doing 2 shows at this place in New Hampshire where we were performing outside because no one was vaccinated yet.
Yeah.
And the first show was great. It was like bright sun and went really well. And we went in for the set break and came back out at 8 o'clock. And it was like, I was like, wow, it's getting dark early, you know? And I got up to the stage and, you know, we started playing and it just felt really, really dark. Certainly compared to the bright sunlight of the earlier show.
Yeah.
And I made it through, you know, several songs just fine. But at one point I was supposed to, you know, take a guitar solo, and I went and looked down at the guitar neck to try and see where my hand was, and I couldn't see any of the markings on the side of the guitar neck. You know,
Yeah.
Most guitar necks have dots. Here. These dots along the side of the neck that tell you where the frets are, what frets you're on. And I couldn't see that. I couldn't see the frets. I couldn't really even see my hands, where they were, what strings they were on. And then this is all in the middle of a song, in the space of like a few tenths of a second, where I'm supposed to like step on a pedal and get ready to rip a solo, you know, and I just couldn't. It was totally disorienting. And of course, you know, it was clam chowder. I just didn't really play well at all. I was making mistakes left and right. And it was very unsettling. That's very unlike me. And it just took me out of the performance, really, for the rest of the gig. It happened 1 or 2 other times to a lesser extent because I got really conservative in how I was playing. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking, like, this is really weird, you know? And after the gig, we realized that I had set up in front of the stage because we were all socially distancing, even the band, you know? They were in masks even outside, and we were 6 feet apart from each other. And I had set up in front of the stage where the lights hadn't ever been focused, you know, and it was daylight when we'd first loaded in. So even that night, I thought, well, I just set up outside the lights and I didn't realize it, you know, like next time, note to self, make sure the lights are shining on you, you know? And I just chalked it up to a kind of a pandemic fluke. But then a couple of weeks later, I was driving through Boston, and again, since it was the pandemic, there wasn't any real traffic on the road, which is very uncharacteristic for Boston. And I was driving along the Charles River, and there's these small short tunnels on Storrow Drive, and I went down into the tunnel, and I just lost the road for, you know, it was just a wall of darkness. It seemed like forever. It was probably a second or 2, you know. Yeah. But there were no taillights in front of me to guide me into where other cars were. And thank God there was no one behind me, because I unhelpfully slammed on my brakes and someone would have just rear-ended me. So that was when I was like, okay, something's not right, you know?
I've had moments like that too, driving. When I quit driving when I was 27. Okay. And I had moments like that where if I was in unfamiliar territory, and it was like, you know, it's kind of hard too when you're trying to navigate with like your phone's like GPS, and then you're looking at a bright screen, and then you look up ahead, and then it's like your eyes don't adjust, and then you can't see where you need to turn, and you miss a turn, and then it's like this dark country road. You know, I was living in North Carolina. So if I missed a turn, it would, you know, sometimes these roads were just like 0 street lights, and I just got uncomfortable driving, or cars would appear in front of me out of nowhere, you know, because they were in that blind spot, and then they merged into my lane, and then I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah.
It's, I mean, people are such horrible drivers in Boston that maybe I didn't notice it for a little longer. You know, everyone kind of drives like they're half blind here, but I just thought I needed glasses.
Yeah.
And I went, and I did need glasses, and I got the glasses, but
look sharp, by the way.
Thank you, likewise. but the woman, the optometrist said, there's some irregularities on your retina, and you should get checked out by a specialist, and that's when I found out. Yeah,
I was doing some digging on you, and I read that your mom has retinitis pigmentosa.
She does, yeah. And I didn't, I don't know if this is willful ignorance or what, but I just didn't know that it was hereditary. I thought it was this weird freak thing.
Yeah.
It was just hers,
It's a weird freak thing that replicates once it starts, that's what's so that kind of ironic about it is it's a rare disease, but once you have it, it just gets cycled over and over again. But
sure, and it's like anything rare that that you don't know exists. You're not aware of how prevalent it is, and then once you know what you're looking for or what it is, you start to recognize it all around you. So then I started to think back of some other people in our family, that I had never been super close with, but I had known that they had eye issues, and to me they were older, much older people. I just thought that they're old. That's why they can't see, But it turns out that RP had been in our family, and I just wasn't aware of the extent. And that's probably on me. I should have, especially as I'm a biologist in training, but it just seemed like this kind of freak thing that my mom had.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too hard on yourself for that, because I even knew I had RP and I pretended I didn't have it.